Hey, welcome to an episode of MLM Renegade. Today, guys, I want to talk about a really important and meaningful subject, and that's around email copywriting. Super important today. So here's the million-dollar question: how are network marketers like us, who've tried everything their upline ever suggested to be successful, and yet still struggled, who grew up with technology and aren't stuck in the 20th century? How are we supposed to grow our downlines and our bank accounts and yet still have time for real life? My name is J.R. McKee. Join me as we explore how to use 21st century learning and technology to grow our downlines and build lasting wealth. Simply put, this is MLM done different. Welcome to MLM Renegade. So I had this really great opportunity to have an interview with Brittany Bailey. Now, Brittany is actually one of ClickFunnels' email copywriters. So I figured, what better person to come on and talk with us a little bit about copywriting, especially for email. So much of what needs to be done today is done via email. And so if we're not writing good email copy, we're wasting our time. So I wanted to talk with her a little bit about that and some of the tips and tricks that she has as an email copywriter. And her story is really cool too, because she literally just kind of came at it. It was almost an epiphany for her. So check out this really cool interview. I look forward to sharing it with you. Okay, welcome back. Hey guys, really excited today. I've invited on with us Brittany Bailey, and Brittany is actually an email copywriter for ClickFunnels, and she's got her own course. She's an incredible asset for everybody when it comes to email copy. And writing copy is one of these things that I've thrown myself into headlong recently. I just picked up Copywriting Secrets from Jim Edwards. I picked up a couple of other books, and all of them are just incredible. And so this opportunity to, one, be creative with our writing, but then also to use it to actually sell stuff is an incredible opportunity. So I want to have Brittany on and to talk with us a little bit about what she's doing, kind of how she see things, maybe some tips or tricks that anybody can use. But Brittany, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me. I'm super excited to be here.
No, I'm glad we could make it happen. You were, when we originally tried to set it up, you were just getting launched your course, I think, and so you were right in the middle of all that, and you said, "Can we push it off a little bit?" I'm like, "Yeah, sure. Let's do that." But it was, yeah, I'm glad that we could get the time.
Yeah, absolutely.
So tell us a little bit about yourself, kind of where you came from, where what you're working on, and kind of what some of your goals and aspirations with all of this are.
Yeah, sure. So I started out in the journalism space. That was my first major in college. And I knew that I liked writing and I knew that I liked to be creative, but I didn't really know what that looked like in the real world other than just like print journalism. And so I got out of college and I started doing, some agency type work here and there, and just found myself really disgruntled with the 9-to-5 culture. I just didn't really get it. I wanted a lot more flexibility and freedom to hang out with my now husband. He's a firefighter, so his schedule is 24 hours on and 48 hours off. And he would be getting off on like a Monday morning and I had to go to work. And it was just frustrating to try to find time for us to hang out. So I wanted more flexibility. I wanted more freedom. And that's when I discovered this internet marketing world. I was actually home sick from work one day and I got hit with an ad from Julie Stoyan.
Huh.
And it was, she was talking about just this internet marketing space that I didn't even really know existed. And so I kind of fell like headlong into her funnel and learned that copywriting was a thing and started just, blogging here and there, getting my feet wet. And that was about 3 years ago. So from that point, I really got into blogging, sales page writing, and then eventually I landed in emails, and I just fell in love with how they're a combination of all the things that I liked about these different other niches in copywriting. But they also are such a heavy marketing strategy thing because they're really, pushing from all these different places at the launch and all that. So I really just fell in love with them, and that's kind of where I've made my home.
That's fantastic. Now, I got to hear this. I mean, you're working for ClickFunnels. You live in Central Florida, but you're working for a company that's based in Boise. I mean, how did that happen? Because obviously, it's not like you knew somebody, so or maybe you came to know somebody. I don't know, but tell us how that happened.
Yeah, so I had just joined Digital Insiders, which is Julie's mastermind, right about the time that ClickFunnels had put out that Russell was looking for another email copywriter. And I spent 7 hours writing one email to apply to that job. And I was like, okay, this has got to be perfect. I wrote it, I rewrote it. I spent hours agonizing if I should write awesome or amazing. Like, I picked this email apart, sent it in, flew off to do the mastermind with Julie, and got up and did my presentation. And Julie's like, did you apply for that ClickFunnels position? Like, yeah, I did. And she goes, okay, all right. So she kind of, I don't know if she put a good word in for me or what, but
Grease the skids there.
but my application apparently got looked at, and then it was a process after that even. So, they brought me on to write one email, then a couple, then they got reviewed by, there's all kinds of other people. So there's a lead copywriter, there's director of marketing, all these other people before it gets to Russell. So it got reviewed several times. It was this whole long application process, but yeah, that was about almost a year ago, actually.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
So, well, and now Julie works for ClickFunnels as well. She was outside, and they brought her in. So that's fantastic. That's cool to see that that you pick something up, that you were able to apply your education to it, and really turn it into into something real.
Yeah, absolutely. And in such an unexpected way too, because you go to college and like, I just didn't really know what it looked like outside of the, typical college walls. It's, you hear like, oh, you're going to do these, set career paths and that's that. But to find that this whole other world existed, and that it had such a ability to serve all these needs that I had, being flexible, connecting with people, and also, being creative and having a stable income, like it was all available in this world that I didn't even know existed while I was sitting in college learning these things. So yeah, it's been a super interesting journey.
That's awesome. So over the last year that you've worked for ClickFunnels, what are some of the key takeaways, some of the maybe the nuggets that you've learned that maybe wouldn't be self-evident to everybody?
Yeah, so for one, I really, really learned in the last year how important consistency is and showing up. You hear that, but I've learned just from watching the ClickFunnels launches, from doing the launch myself, that traffic and what you're writing in your emails is really like a delayed ROI. Like you're starting at the point when you're starting to think about writing copy for your emails, and when you're starting to think about pushing traffic to your launch, you are building on a platform that you have been creating up until that point. So showing up on social media, showing up and adding value in Facebook groups, like all those things are what you're building on when you're writing your emails and when you're pushing traffic to your launch. So consistency is something that like we hear as a buzzword, but it's something that I think is not fully understood or fully appreciated when we're talking about email copy and driving traffic.
No, that makes total sense. Because yeah, I mean, you're right. Consistency is one of those things that, yeah, okay, I know I need to be consistent. And the what's easy, be consistent. The how, on the other hand, the how is really hard and requires an incredible amount of thought, and also just raw gut determination, I think, sometimes. Because there are days, I mean, I sat down this morning and I have my Grant Cardone 10X planner, right? And I wrote down a bunch of stuff. I got to get all this stuff done for my day job, done for, my business. And I sit down to do some stuff. And like one of the things I have to get done today for my day job is I have to submit 2 expense reports. One from a trip that happened like 6 weeks ago. So it really needs to get done. Like, I hate expense reports. That is like, I would rather go chew on a bullet than do an expense report. But I still need to get it done. And I mean, there's a good reason. It's like, hey, there's some money sitting on my credit card that I need to pay off. And if my wife is listening, sorry, hon. But beyond that, you know, being consistent, sometimes you just don't wanna. And, you know, I was talking with somebody, in fact, I'm going to do another podcast episode about this, but talking about the difference between commitment and motivation, you know, and that consistency, you have to have a commitment to the consistency, not just be motivated to be consistent, because they're different. Motivation's fleeting, you know.
Absolutely. Yeah. Motivation is almost like an emotion, right?
Yeah.
You know, like it's something that you experience sometimes and then sometimes you don't, but commitment is something that happens regardless of how you're feeling. I've heard Marley Baird say this. I don't know if she originated it, but commitment doesn't care how you feel.
Yep.
And that's something that I have taken to heart. And like, I have it on a sticky note actually on my wall here, because it's something that, you know, in the moment, like you're saying, like you got all this other stuff going on and it doesn't feel like that's going to be, you know, a priority, or you know, can't fit it into your schedule or whatever. But yeah, it's a great distinction.
Yeah. Well, now, so help us out. Some of the fledgling email copywriters, one of the things I need to do for my business, I need to both create a Seinfeld sequence, a soap opera sequence. I need to get I've been slowly building a list. Like I have an event, or a class really that I'm going to do tomorrow night called Sales Closer Secrets. I am a career sales guy. And I am pretty good at it. You know, right now my day job, I get to negotiate multi-million-dollar contracts with Microsoft for my clients. So it's cool. It gives me some help. But so I created Sales Closer Secrets because I also do MLM, right? MLM Renegade, right? And so so I created this class. I did it once back in May. And I learned a bunch. And so now I'm trying to apply what I learned and do it again. And eventually it'll become a course, like a fairly inexpensive course. But it's a great opportunity to help me build a list. And I've got over 100 people or whatever that have signed up for it over time. But it's like, I need to be marketing to those people. And I know that. But getting off my butt to actually write the email copy is like, yeah, it's painful, which is really funny because in my sales career, I have written more emails than I've sent tens and probably hundreds of thousands of emails, usually in blast bulk sort of mailings, but I use email for prospecting, for sales. And so writing it for prospecting really for myself it's just this whole mental block. So somebody like me who's having the same struggle, where do I start?
Oh, such a good question. So basically what I recommend a healthy list should have is Seinfeld emails, which is what you mentioned. And basically if you don't know what that is, it's essentially an email that is about, quote, nothing, right? So if you're familiar with the show, it takes the reader through a day-to-day journey or story or something that's going on in your life. And then at the end, there's a small bridge that leads to what your call to action is. So if it's to join your waitlist for your masterclass or something like that, you might talk about something that you have going on this weekend and this and that. And if you want to know how I'm able to take time off and hang out with my family, then sign up for this waitlist, that kind of thing, right? So those should be going out to your list. If you read .com Secrets or Expert Secrets, Russell recommends those go out every day. I typically don't recommend that. I feel like that's a little bit much. So if you want to do that anywhere between 2 and 3 times a week, that's usually a good number. And then what you mentioned also was soap opera emails. And what's great about soap opera emails is you only have to set them up once, and then you attach them to all of your front end offers. And what a soap opera sequence does, it really just indoctrinates a new subscriber, a new customer, someone like that, to you, to your business, to your mission, to why you're so passionate about what you do. It kind of just brings them into your world. And it's usually a 5-part series. And once you have that done, you attach it to all of your front end offers. And what's great about that is you have someone, when they hit your Seinfeld emails that are going out, they're going to have a frame of who you are. So they're not just immediately hit with like something that you're doing on the weekend. They're like, who is this guy? Why do I care? They're coming into your list already warm. And so that's super, super helpful when you're going to start to promote a launch or something like that. So those are two things that you need to have in place to have a healthy list, is what I would say. And then you can also do teaser emails. So if you have like a podcast going out or something like that, that's something that you can also be sending out to your list.
Okay. And so with with Seinfeld emails, creating those, obviously that's an ongoing process. And I like that you pointed out that the soap opera emails were, kind of a build it once and, build 5 of them and use them ad nauseum, right? Which is cool. And just so everybody knows, I mean, I've talked about it before, but Expert Secrets and .com Secrets, 2 books by Russell Brunson. They talk about both of these email sequences. Go get them if you need if you can get them for free. Okay, you pay for shipping; it's like $8. You get it for free. Like, go and get it. If you need a link, ask me; I'll give it to you. But like, go get the books. Probably the single 2 most valuable marketing books that I've ever read. So the third is forthcoming. Actually, I just saw a sneak peek. Brittany has an editor's copy of Traffic Secrets, which is the third book in Russell's trilogy. It actually comes out Cinco de Mayo next year, so the 5th of May next year. I'm already on the waiting list to get mine, and I will buy it. I'm incredibly jealous that she has that galley so that she can read through it. I had to give her a hard time for that. So now, Brittany, you have a course about copywriting, right? About email copywriting. Tell me about it.
Yeah, Email Copy School. So basically, Email Copy School takes someone through the journey of learning how to write email copy for themselves or for their clients. So there's kind of 2 different avatars that would be interested in it. If you are a business owner and you have maybe just one person that's working with you, like a virtual assistant or something like that, and you want to send them through the course, or if you are a service provider and you want to learn how to offer this to your course, you can do that as well. It is 8 modules, and it goes through the fundamentals of email copy. So we talk about subject lines, we talk about calls to action, we talk about nurturing a list and understanding that and talking to the customers, surveying the customers, all that. We talk about structuring an email, all of that, and we talk about setting up emails for launches, ongoing email strategy. It's all inside of there.
Fantastic. And I guess obviously you're working for Russell, and so it seems like a natural outcropping. Kind of what spurred you on to create the course?
Yeah, so it's something that's honestly been sitting like in my head for probably the last year and a half. Like, I've just known that I wanted to create a course about my process and how I write emails for clients and how I understand what their mission is and how to put all that into words and drive traffic to their amazing launches and products. I knew that I wanted to do that. And I joined Digital Insiders, and it's kind of been this process where I was waiting for stuff to slow down, and I realized that it was never going to. So
that's usually how it works, right?
Yeah, you just look up and you're like, oh, it's been a year. Okay. So I was supposed to be in Toronto for a week, and I had taken the week off of ClickFunnels, and it didn't work out. I didn't end up going, and I went over. Our family has a condo over in Tampa, and I went over to the condo and I put my head down for a whole week, and I ended up just like pouring everything out that had been sitting on my chest for a year of everything I know about email is in this course. And so I just spent the entire week just brain dumping it all out. And that's kind of how it came to be.
Oh, that's awesome. And I'm, as an aspiring course creator myself, I love that about it, is that I know that I need to just get in front of the camera for probably 3 or 4 days and just record a bunch of stuff, but I haven't gotten there yet. That's part of some of the goals for this year still. So now, so if you had one piece of advice here to share with these fledgling email copywriters, or people maybe who aren't fledgling and just want to improve what they're doing, like what's that nugget?
So clear is much better than clever when it comes to email copy. And so really what you want to focus on is having one singular call to action in your email. and don't be afraid to repeat it, right? So you're going to, open with something that's like a hook for your email, something that catches the reader's attention. State your call to action clearly, provide any supportive information that you need to, here's why I created this, whatever. Provide your call to action again. And don't just try to make it like this. Some people try to fit like a blog post into an email or the entire sales page into one email. Don't worry about getting everything into the email. You can send out a series. So be really clear, focus on one call to action, and clear is much better than getting clever.
Clear is better than clever. I like that. So, well, awesome. Now, you're selling Email Copy School. How does everybody get a hold of that?
Emailcopyschool.com.
Emailcopyschool.com. Awesome. And what is this, a 197 course, 297 course? What have you got it for?
The beta was 197. Doors are not quite open yet for the next round. And
Okay.
The next round is going to be 297 for business owners that want to send their team members through. And then if you're wanting to get into email copywriting, it's going to be 497, and it's going to include a certification program that actually has job leads pushed to the group, exclusive job leads pushed to that group. So that's going to be coming out in the near future here, and that one's going to be 497.
497. Fantastic. Awesome. Well, Brittany, I appreciate you coming on with us. What you've got to share is just invaluable. And so I'm so glad to be able to have you on and talk a little bit about that today.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me.
And thank you. Hey, thanks for listening, and please remember to subscribe. And if you loved us, leave us an awesome review on iTunes, Stitcher, or wherever you consume your podcasts. Now, if you'd like some free training for your team on how your recruiting efforts can be bettered and brought into the 21st century, go to podcast.mlmrenegade.com and get your copy of the Renegade Recruiting Kickstarter.